Along with Zemer Lexi Hallman, we are celebrating Shabbat with you all over Wake County and all over our country. On this Shabbat, we are proud to welcome to our Bima, Emma Posner, who will be celebrating becoming Bat Mitzvah. If you are new to Zoom, just a few notes about the Zoom platform before we let go of those notes and come into the worship service. If you have a problem, you should look at the bottom of your screen or the top, depending on your device, for a button that says chat. And in that chat, write a message to our TBO host, Hillary. And if you write a message to her, she can help you with any problems you might have. In a few minutes, we are going to, after our opening song, invite you to go out into breakout rooms and to welcome each other to this worship service so that we are truly here as a community and that we welcome one another and feel each other's presence in a way that looks at each other eye to eye. And when you go to those breakout rooms, you may have to unmute your microphone or remute your microphone when we go out again. We do ask that during our regular part of the worship, you stay muted so that we can spotlight our Bat Mitzvah, Zemer Lexi and myself, and we can all join together in praying. And now I invite you to take a deep breath in of the beauty of all of those who are here to share with us this special Shabbat. And as we turn to Shabbat, I remind you that in the chat room is a copy of our Mishkan Tefillah, a link to it. You can press on that link and then follow the service side by side with your Zoom if you do not have a prayer book with you. And so now, with no further ado, we turn to the purpose of our gathering, to becoming one with community in this perilous time, to knowing that as we pray together to God, we connect ourselves to one another and to a tradition that goes from generation to generation. Master of the universe, give us strength to hear and feel your presence within us as we worship before you. Amen. We turn now in our prayer books to page 170. And now we will be sending you into breakout rooms where you will greet one another and share something good that you did for yourself or for others during this week. As we return, I welcome you back, and we continue in our service on page 171 as I invite Paul and Jennifer Posner to present the Talit to their daughter Emma on this special occasion.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu, l'hidat b'asi.
Amen.
Emma, I want you to know, I know you know this Talit was from your great-grandfather, and he would be very proud of you today if he was actually here deceased.
And now I invite our opening readers, who we will spotlight, to lead us, starting with Barbara and Paul Masakowski on page 169.
In all life there is longing. Creation itself is but a longing, a prayer to Yahweh. What are the clouds? The rising and the setting of the sun, the soft radiance of the moon, and the gentleness of the night?
What are the
They are all prayers, the outpouring of boundless longing for God.
No.
They done? Our second reader are Kate and Michael McLaren, page 81.
I can stay the tears of others if I can see myself as diminished of their sorrows. I can hasten time when everyone will be able to rejoice in freedom. If I can see myself as the companion of those fighting against oppression, I can honor the struggle of people everywhere to gain dignity and deliverance from bondage. When I look at myself in the mirror, who will I see?
Religion embraces.
Our third reader.
We have just a little more.
Okay.
Religion embraces both faith and action. The primary quality is action, for it lays the foundation for faith. The more we do good, the more readily do we grasp the meaning of duty and life, and the more readily do we believe in the divine from which stems the good.
Thank you. And our third readers, Pam and William Valley, page 6.
May the door of the synagogue be wide enough to receive all who hunger for love, all who are lonely for friendship. May it welcome all who have cares to unburden, thanks to express, hopes to nurture. May the door of the synagogue be narrow enough to shut out pettiness and pride, envy and enmity. May its threshold be no stumbling block to young or straying feet. May it be too high to admit complacency, selfishness, and harshness. May the synagogue be, for all who enter, the doorway to a richer and more meaningful life.
Thank you. And now we turn to page 8 and invite Aiden, Matt, and Tara Hamill.
I begin with a prayer of gratitude for all that is holy in my life.
God needs no words, no English or Hebrew, no semantics, and no services, but I need them.
Through prayer, I can sense my inner strength. my inner purpose, my inner joy, my capacity to love. As I reach upward in prayer, I sense these qualities in my Creator.
To love God is to love each other, to work to make our lives better. To love God is to love the world God created and to work to perfect it.
To love God is to love dreams of peace and joy that illumine all of us, and to bring that vision to life.
And now, surrounded by the love of such a large and caring family, we invite our Bat Mitzvah, Emma Posner, to lead us in our worship and study of Torah. We join with her in the Blessings for Daily Miracles, pages 175 through 178.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lasech v'yivina, lechavhein ben yom u'ben laila. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, pokeach ivrim. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, matir asurim. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, zokef kefufim. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, roka haaretz al hamayim. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamechin mitzadei gaver. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, malbish arumim. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hanoten le'aif koach. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hama'avir sheina me'enai, Utnuma me'afapai. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, shasani b'tselem Elohim. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, shasani bat chorim. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Shasani Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Otzer Yisrael b'gvura. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Oter Yisrael b'tifara.
We turn now in our service to the Hatzi Kaddish, page 194.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא דברך חירותי וימלך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בגלה בגלה ובזמן קריב, ויאמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך, לעלם ולעלי עלמיה, יתברך, יתברך וישתבח, יתפאר בתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי דקדושה ברכו, לעילא מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דמין רן בעלמא, ויאמרו אמן.
Throughout our worship, it is customary for some to rise at certain prayers in our service. Given that you are standing before your video, we invite you to rise as you are able and as it is appropriate for you at those portions of our service where we often rise. But we won't be giving instructions for that during our service, but allowing each person to do what is comfortable for them. We turn now to our call to worship on page 195.
ברכו את אדוני המבורך
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, yotzer or uberei choshech, osei shalom uberei et hakol, hama'ir la'aretz v'ladarim alecha barachamim, uvtuvu mechadesh bechol yom tamid ma'aseh v'reshit. Ma rabu ma'asecha Adonai, kulam bechokma asita, mala ha'aretz kinyanecha, tit barach Adonai Eloheinu, al sheva ma'aseh yadecha, ve'al me'orei or she'asita yifa'arucha selah. Or chadash al tzion ta'ir, v'nizkeh chulanu mehara le'uro. Baruch atah Adonai, yotzer hamarot. Please turn to page 199. O God, inspiration and guide for all, you have spoken in 1,000 tongues for us to hear. In every land and every age, your children have heard you and imagined you in separate ways. And yet, O God, you are one, unifier of humanity. We give thanks for the sages and teachers who bring us understanding of your will. Gratefully, we recall the lawgivers and prophets, the psalmists and sages of Israel. And joyfully, we remember that from the dawn of Israel's life, we would turn to you and find purpose. May the teachings of our ancestors live on in our minds, and their passion for righteousness stir our hearts. Help us to live so that our daily conduct reveals the beauty and wisdom of your truth. Baruch atah Adonai, habocher ba'amo Yisrael ba'ahava.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai echad. Baruch Shem kevod malchuto le'olam va'ed.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha ve'chol levavcha ve'chol nafshecha ve'chol meodecha ve'chayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha ve'shinotam levanecha v'dibarta bam ve'shivtecha beveitecha Uvlechtecha v'derech, uvshofecha uvkumecha, ukshartam leot al yadecha, v'chayu latotafot beineinecha, uktavtam al mezuzot beitecha, uvisharecha, leman tiskeru, v'asitem et kol mitzvotai, v'tem kedoshim lelohehem. Ani Adonai Elohehem, asher hotzeiti ethem, Me'eretz Mitzrayim, Lahiyot lehem Elohim. Ani Adonai Elohim. Love Adonai your God with every heartbeat, with every breath, with every conscious act. Keep in mind the words I command you today. Teach them to your children, talk about them at work, whether you are tired or you are rested. Let them guide the work of your hands, keep them in the forefront of your vision. Do not leave them at the doorway of your house or outside your gate. They are reminders to do all of my mitzvot so that you can be holy for God. I am Adonai your God. I led you out of Egypt to become your God. I am Adonai your God. We continue on page 203. Sing the song of men and women joined in understanding and respect. The song of God's miracles, an earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and the generations to come. The song of a land once ravished by war, now quiet and content, her soldiers home to leave no more. The song of a world redeemed, the song of peace.
שיר החדשה שמחוגי עולים לשמך שפת הים יחד כולם הודו וחמליכו ויאמרו אדוני אלוהינו לעולם ועד אדוני אלוהינו
We continue in Hebrew from page 205 to page 210. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu. Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Hasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Hasdei Avot v'Imahot, Umevi Gdula Lifnei V'neihem, L'man Shemo Be'ahava. Melech Oser Umoshia Umagin. Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai Mechaye hakol atah Rav le'oshia Morid hatah. Mechachel hayim behesed Mechaye hakol berachamim Rabbi. Somech noflim ve'rofeh holim Umatir asurim Umekayem emunato Lishanei afar Mihamocha ba'al giverot Umido melach Melech memit Umechayeh Umatmi hayeshua V'ne'emana talecha chayot hakol Baruch atah Adonai Mechaye hakol.
Continue now with the Kiddusha as we chant from pages 208 to 210.
נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשפה מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה על זה ואמר, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך כל הארץ, כבוד. כבודו. אדיר אדירנו אדוני אדוננו, מדיר שמך בכל הארץ. ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. אחד הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו, הוא מלכנו, הוא מושיענו והוא ישמיענו, ברחמיו לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהי ציון לדור ודור. הללויה. לדור ודור נגיד כולך, ונצק נצקים קדושתך נקדיש, ושבחך לא ינמי פילה לא ימוש לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
And now we turn to page 211, and I invite Daniel Posner to lead us.
You'll have to unmute yourself first.
Well, there you go. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right, good. The meaning of Shabbat is to celebrate time rather than space. 6 days a week, we live under the tyranny of things of space. On Shabbat, we try to become attuned to holiness in time. It is a day on which we are called upon to share in what is eternal in time, to turn from the results of creation to the mystery of creation, from the world of creation to the creation of the world. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh HaShabbat.
ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. מקדשי מקדשי שבי שבת, כולם יספרו ויתנו טוב את השבת. בחשבים רצית בו ותקדשת שבת. עמדות ימים אותו קראת השבת. ישמחו שומרי 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 שבת קורא עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת.
We turn now to page 212 and invite Jennifer, Madison, Jeffrey, and Taylor McCabe to lead us.
On this Shabbat day, as you graciously receive our prayers, help us to hear your call. Grant us enough health to fulfill our duties and the compassion we need to attend to others. Teach us humility that we may perceive our own faults, and grant us the wisdom to be forgiving of others. Give us the courage to be true to our highest selves and the charity to see the best in those around us. Give us patience enough not to become discouraged, hope enough to overcome all fears for the future, and faith enough to know your presence. O source of blessing, look with favor upon us. May our offerings be acceptable to you. We praise you, Adonai, whom alone we serve in reverence. Baruch atah Adonai, shalcha levacha v'yira na'avod.
And now, as we are thankful for the prayers of our tefillah, asking God to accept those prayers, we complete tefillah with our prayer for peace. 216. Sim Shalom.
Sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, tova uveracha. Yelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelelel Sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, tova uveracha.
On page 212, Jennifer, Madison, Jeffrey, and Taylor McCabe. Oh, Judith and Mitchell Lander.
O God, may we never become complacent, faltering in our effort to build a world of peace. Let the nations know and understand that justice and right are better than dominion and conquest. May all come to see that it is not by might, not by power, but by your spirit that life prevails.
Let us take a moment now for our prayers of our hearts.
יהיו לרצון אמרי פי ויום ליבי לפניך יהיו לרצון אמרי פי ויום ליבי לפניך אדוני צורי אדוני צורי Adonai tzuri veku ani Adonai tzuri Adonai tzuri Adonai tzuri veku ani.
And now we turn to page 244 in our prayer books for the service for reading of Torah. I invite forward Emma's family, her brother Alex, her parents, Jennifer and Paul, to take the Torah from the ark to pass it to the hands of our bat mitzvah.
אין כמוך באלוהים אדוני ואין כמעשיך מלכותך מלכות כל עולמים וממשלתך בכל דור ודור אדוני מלך אדוני מלך אדוני מלוך לעולם ועד אדוני עוש לעמו ייתן Adonai יברך את עמו בשלום, כי מציון תצא תורה, כי מציון תצא תורה, ודבר אדוני מירושלים. ברוך שנתן תורה תורה, Baruch שנתן תורה תורה לעמו ישראל בקדושתו שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני אחד אחד אלוהינו גדול אדוננו קדוש שמו לך אדוני הגידול
בשמיים ובארץ, כי כל בשמיים ובארץ, לך אדוני הממלכה, ואני נעשה לכל ראש. הללו, 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 כל הנשמה הללויה, הללו, הללויה, כל הנשמה הללויה, הללו, הללויה.
My Torah portion is Hukah. It is in the book of Numbers, chapter 20, verses 1 through 13. In it, Moses and Aaron failed to affirm the Eternal One's sanctity in the eyes of the Israelite people, and there were consequences.
We call for the first Aliyah, Tom Klee.
He was frozen, so he's reconnecting.
Come on up, John. Yep.
Baruch Adonai HaMorach, Baruch Adonai HaMorach Le'olam Va'ed, Baruch Adonai HaMorach Le'olam Va'ed, Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher b'haranu mikol ha'ami, v'natan lanu et Torato, Baruch Atah Adonai noten ha'Torah. Amen.
Amen. V'yava'u v'nei Yisrael, kol ha'edah midbar tzin b'chodesh harishon v'yeshev ha'am v'kadesh v'tamot, sham Miriam v'tikaver sham, v'lo hayamayim la'edah v'yikahalu al Moshe ve'al Aharon, v'yarev ha'am im Moshe, v'yamru lemor v'lu Bavanu bidva achenu lifnei Adonai.
Baruch Adonai, Baruch Atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam natan Eloheinu, Baruch Atah Adonai, noten ha'Torah.
Amen. Ya'amud Chaim Ben Yosef Ruth. We call for the second Aliyah, Alex Posner.
Baruch Adonai HaMorach, Baruch Adonai HaMorach Le'olam Va'ed, Baruch Adonai HaMorach Le'olam Va'ed, Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher b'haranu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato, Baruch Atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen. V'lama havetem et kahal Adonai el hamidbar hazeh lamut sham anachnu uvirenu v'lama ha'elitunu memisraim lehavi otanu el hamakom hara hazeh lo makom zera utena v'gefen v'rimon Umayim ayin lishtot vayavo Moshe va'aharon mipnei hakahal el petach ohel moed vayiplu el pnehem vayera kevod Adonai alehem.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tokenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Yomdu Yosef Ruth Bad Abraham Sarah. We call for the third Aliyah, Paul and Jennifer Posner.
Let's see if we can do it right this time. Ready?
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher b'haranu mikol ha'amin v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Vayidabar Adonai el Moshe lemor kach et hamateh v'achel et ha'edah ata ve'aharon ahicha v'dibartem el hasela le'enehem v'natan memav v'hotzeta lachem mayim hasela Vatesht et ha'edah ve'et be'iram vayikach Moshe et hamateh milifnei Adonai ka'asher tzivahu.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam na'ateh b'tokenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Ta'amud Habat Mitzvah, Mesua Rachel Bat Yosef Ruth. We call for the final Aliyah, the Bat Mitzvah, Emma Posner.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach,
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Amen. Ve'achilu Moshe ve'aharon et hakahal el pnei hasela vayomer lahem shim'una hamorim hamin hasela hazeh notzi lachem mayim uviram Moshe et yado vayach et hasela v'metehu pa'amayim v'yetzu mayim rabim v'tesh ha'edah uviram. Vayomer Adonai el Moshe ve'el Aharon Ya'an lo ha'emantem bi lahakti sheni le'enei b'nei Yisrael lachen lo tavi'u et hakahal hazeh el haaretz asher natati lahem hema me meriva asher ravu b'nei Yisrael et Adonai vayikadesh bam. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'dochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
The Israelites arrived in a body at the wilderness of Zin on the first moon, and the people stayed at Kadesh. Miriam died there and was buried there. The community was without water, and they joined against Moses and Aaron. The people quarreled with Moses, saying, If only we had perished when our brothers perished at the instance of the Eternal. Why have you brought the Eternal's congregation into this wilderness? For us and our beasts to die there. Why did you make us leave Egypt to bring us to this wretched place, a place with no grain or figs or vines or pomegranates? There is not even water to drink. Moses and Aaron came away from the congregation to the entrance of the tent of meeting and fell on their faces. The presence of the Eternal appeared to them, and the Eternal One spoke to Moses, saying, "You and your brother Aaron take the rod and assemble the community, and before their very eyes order the rock to yield its water. Thus you shall produce water for them from the rock, and provide drink for the congregation and their beasts." Moses took the rod from before the Eternal, as he had been commanded. Moses and Aaron assembled the congregation in front of the rock, and he said to them, "Listen, you rebels, shall we get water for you out of this rock?" And Moses raised his hand and struck the rock twice with his rod. Out came copious water, and the community and their beasts drank. But the Eternal One said to Moses and Aaron, "Because you did not trust me enough to affirm my sanctity in the sight of the Israelite people, therefore you shall not lead this congregation into the land that I have given them." Those are the waters of Meribah, meaning that the Israelites quarreled with the Eternal, whose sanctity was affirmed through them.
Now I invite forward the family of our bat mitzvah for Hagba and Galila as we lift and dress the Torah.
וזאת התורה אשר שם משה לפני בני ישראל, על פי אדוני ביד משה. יאי לי 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 לי
My Haftarah portion is in the book of Judges, chapter 11, verses 19 through 28. In my portion, the Israelites tried to reason with the Amorites so as to not go to war. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'nviim tovim v'ratza v'divrahem Hane'emarim be'emet, Baruch atah Adonai, Habocher b'Torah, u'Moshe avdo, u'Yisrael amo, u'Vinvi'eh hamed v'tzedek. Vayishlach Yisrael malachim, El Sichon melech Ha'emori melech Cheshbon. Vayomer lo Yisrael na bara na b'artzecha ad mikomi v'lo ha'emin Sichon et Yisrael avor bigvulo vaye'esof Sichon et kol amo vayachanu b'yatza vayilachem im Yisrael Vayitain Adonai Elohei Yisrael et Sichon ve'et kol amo b'yad Yisrael vayachkun vayirash Yisrael et kol eretz ha'emori yoshev ha'aretz hahi vayirshu et kol gevul ha'emori me'ernon ve'ad hayabok umin Hamidbar, Va'ad, hayarden, ve'ata Adonai Elohei Yisrael, horish et ha'emori mipnei amo Yisrael, ve'ata tirashenu halo et asher yorishcha kemosh Elohecha, oto tirash ve'et kol asher horish Adonai Eloheinu mipanenu oto nirash ve'ata hato tov ata mibalach ben Zippor melech Moab harov rav im Yisrael im nilcham bam B'shevet Yisrael b'Hashbon uvivnotecha uvaror uvivnotecha v'chol ha'arim asher al yadei Arnon shalosh meot shana umadua lo hitzaltem bait hahi ve'anochi lo hatati lach ve'ata oseh iti Ra'a lehilahem bi yishpot Adonai hashofet hayom. Bein b'nei Yisrael uvein b'nei Ammon. Velo shama melech b'nei Ammon el divrei yiftach asher shalach elav. Baruch atah, wait. Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, zur kol haolamim, tzadich bechol hadarot, ha'el hane'eman, ha'omer ve'oseh, hamdaber u'mkayem, shechol devarav, emet v'tzedek, al haTorah, ve'al ha'avodah, ve'al ha'nevi'im, ve'al yom ha'shabbat hazeh, shenatata lanu, Adonai Eloheinu, L'kedusha v'limnucha, lechavod u'tifaret. Al hakol, Adonai Eloheinu, anachnu modim lach, u'mevarchim otach, yitbarashimcha befi kol chai, tamid le'olav va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh haShabbat. Amen. Then Israel sent messengers to the Amorite king Sihon, king of Heshbon, saying, "Please let us cross your land to our own." But Sihon did not believe the Israelites would merely pass through his territory. So he mustered his army, encamped at Jahaz, and attacked Israel. But the Eternal, the God of Israel, put Sihon and his army into the hands of Israel, who defeated them. In that way, Israel took over the land of the Amorites, who lived in that territory. They took possession of the territory of the Amorites from the Arnon River to the Jabbok River, from the wilderness all the way to the Jordan River. And now that the Eternal, the God of Israel, dispossessed the Amorites in favor of Israel, the people of the Eternal, are you going to take it over? Do you not hold whatever your God Chemosh has given you as a holding? So will we hold whatever land the Eternal our God has given to us? Are you really any better than Balak, son of Zippor, king of Moab? Did he dare contend with Israel? Did he dare wage war against them? 300 years Israel has been settled in Heshbon and Aroer, and the towns surrounding them, and the cities along the Arnon River. Why didn't you take them back all that time? No, I have done you no wrong. It is you who are wronging me by making war on me. The Eternal, the Judge, will decide this day between the people of Israel and the people of Ammon. But the king of Ammon paid no attention to the message Jephthah had sent.
Simen tavu mazel tavu mazel tavu and simen tavu mazel tavu mazel tavu simen tavu mazel tavu simen tavu yelanu ul Israel yelanu ul Israel. Simen tavu mazel tavu mazel tavu simen tavu mazel tavu simen
Judaism to me is family. It's a legacy. In my family, my dad's side has been Jewish for as long as anyone can remember. My mom's side, however, is Catholic. My mom decided to explore other religions and found Judaism. Then she met my dad. My dad sometimes joined my mom for her conversion classes. I don't know about you, but I think that's pretty cool. I also love Jewish holidays at my house. Passover at my house is a feast and a reading of the Haggadah. I love the sense of family when we all pray together and take turns reading the story of Passover. The feast and just talking and laughing with my family makes me very happy. It's the same with Hanukkah at my house. One night of Hanukkah, we have a big feast and read the story of Hanukkah, and it gives me the greatest sense of family. These are things that I want my family in the future to have. This is the legacy that I want to carry on. This is what being Jewish means to me. This is what being a bat mitzvah means to me. There are two lessons that I learned from my Torah portion. One of them being that there are certain criteria that a leader must follow. In my portion, Moses and Aaron did not live up to God's criteria, and God punishes them for it. God commands Moses and Aaron to order the rock to yield its water, but Moses strikes the rock instead. That brings me to the second lesson I learned from my Torah portion. Everyone makes mistakes. We're all human, and humans make mistakes. Sometimes it's hard to accept our mistakes, but we make them whether we like it or not. I love the musical Hamilton, so to reference, when Hamilton and Hercules dueled Charles Lee, even though their leader, Washington, told them not to. Just like in my Torah portion, they disobeyed their leader, they went against their leader, and they got punished for it. In Hamilton's case, he gets sent home from war, and in Moses' case, he is not allowed to lead his people into the promised land. You might be thinking, well, if Moses struck the rock, why is Aaron being punished as well? Aaron did not say anything to prevent Moses from striking the rock. He simply watched. Silence is violence. If you don't speak up, you are just as guilty as the person committing the act. This brings me to something that I need to talk about. The world we live in needs to change. Right now. We cannot keep up with the notion that we are all somehow better than each other. How am I any better than another person just like me that's a different race than me? We are all the same. If two people are applying for the same job, they both have no criminal past, the same job experience, they are only different in one way. One of them is black and one is white. Who is more likely to be hired? The sad reality that we live in is that the white person is more likely to be hired. Why? Why is that our reality if we can change it? So we must. It has been far too long, and it's time for our world to change vastly. Our phones update, and yet we don't. It's time. My brother and I are very educated on the injustice that goes on in the world every day because my mom and dad make sure that we are. Thank you for that, Mom and Dad. I appreciate so many people who helped me get to where I am today, so I would like to take this time to thank them. First of all, thank you to everyone who took the time to be here on this call today. Thank you to all my non-Jewish friends for joining me today to support me. Even if you didn't understand what was going on most of the time, it means so much to me that you actually woke up pretty early to join this call. Thank you to the Jewish Jelly Donuts for making me feel so welcome this year. I can't wait to get to know even more of you in the years to come. Thank you to my tutor, Ellen, for helping me with everything, and especially thank you for telling me that I don't have to be perfect and to just do my best. I definitely needed to hear it throughout the whole process. Thank you to Rabbi Dinner and Zemmer Lexi for making today happen. I for sure couldn't do this without you. Thank you to my family members who participated today. It meant so much to me. Thank you to my brother Alex for practicing prayers with me, for goofing around with me when I couldn't bear to practice for any longer. Thank you to my dad for helping me remember tunes to prayers. Just kidding, he definitely did not do that. But seriously, Dad, thank you for just knowing when I needed a long hug after practicing for so long and getting frustrated at myself because it wasn't perfect. Mom, thank you for being with me through my bad days of practicing, my good days of practicing, and everything in between. You understand me better than anyone else in the world, except maybe Nutmeg. Thank you for being my mom. Last but not least, I would like to thank someone who always knows when I need a good cuddle and who is definitely a crazy pants. My dog, Nutmeg. Sadly, she could not be here today, but she's probably sleeping at the kennel and dreaming of peanut butter and bacon right now. Once again, thank you to everyone who's here today. It means so much to me.
Emma, we are so proud of the young woman you've become. When you set your mind to do anything, whether it be in 5th grade reading an entire 100-page book in one night to win a reading challenge, or writing an inspiring Devar Torah, it always ends up more amazing than we could ever imagine. Your determination and passion will help you to overcome many mountains in life. In Judaism, we believe in tikkun olam, repairing the world. Today, you laid down a challenge for all of us to stand up for what is right and work toward justice for all. Dad and I challenge you, Emma, to always believe in yourself. Remember all of the hard work that you put into learning your Torah portion, as well as your Haftarah. You didn't think you could do it, and you were pleasantly surprised each time you moved a little bit ahead. But we weren't surprised. You have never given up, even when things get tough. We encourage you to take that faith into the world and use your voice to repair it. Emma, you have a mind that is always seeking knowledge and a heart that is filled with empathy for those who are suffering. We challenge you to nurture both by continuing your love of reading, searching out ways to help those in need, and leaning on God, your Jewish community, and Torah to guide you in knowing the best way to lead. Our world needs you and your generation to take up the torch of leadership with faith, courage, and understanding. We have faith in you and love you very much.
Now it's my turn. Do I get a hug too? I'm so proud of you. All right. As you mentioned in your speech, I obviously didn't help you with any singing or tunes because I have not a very good singing voice, but luckily we're here today to celebrate you, not anything about me. So today's not really what we expected, right? When we were planning and putting this all together, we're expecting to be here today with families and friends, culminating with the ceremony, a whole weekend of events, having fun, and seeing everybody. Life certainly threw us a curve, didn't it? We didn't plan for this pandemic, nor did we expect to be here today doing a Zoom call instead of seeing everybody here. This shows us once again, we can't control everything that happens in life. We can not always control things that are thrown our way. However, we can control our own destiny. You are still today here celebrating your bat mitzvah because you are controlling your own destiny. Now, controlling your own destiny is something that your mom and I know that you've done since the day you were born. In fact, on the day you were born, early in the morning, your mom was having contractions, or so we thought. Well, lo and behold, you were not ready to make your grand entrance into this world. In fact, you waited till about, 2, 3 in the morning to be born. Once again, doing things your own way, as you always do. You made your own destiny even on the day you were born, even though knowing how much your dad loves his sleep. And that was way too late for me. In fact, your mother always tells the story that within the half hour of when you were born, I was fast asleep snoring on the couch in the delivery room. As I said, that was way too late for me. So life moves on, right? So as a little girl around 5 years old, your mother and I thought perhaps you should get involved in some recreational sports. Knowing my love of soccer, we signed you up for Little League Soccer. We got there on the first day, and while all the other little kids were running around, not really playing soccer, just as little 5-year-olds do, running around in circles and such, you were sitting in a corner with a very mad look on your face. Suffice it to say, soccer was not going to be your thing. You made it clear that you were going to define your destiny, that soccer was not your thing. It ended up being your brother's thing. So we said, let's try a different recreational sport. So we tried softball. And from the start, this was obviously much better than soccer. You were excited to get to play and get involved. And so it was obvious to us that your love for this game was different than it would have been for soccer. However, it soon became apparent to us as you were playing that maybe it wasn't the softball that you were really loving about playing softball. When you hit the ball and ran down to first base, you did a great job and everybody cheered. Then you started chatting with the first baseman. And chatting, and chatting, and chatting. By the next time the next batter up hit the ball, everybody was screaming, Emma, Emma, run to second base, run to second base. So you eventually did. And by the time you got there, you started chatting with the second baseman. It became very clear your excitement to play softball was not about the game, but your love to be around people and make many, many friends. Again, you defined your destiny that you are an extrovert. You love to be around people. You love to be around your friends. And you have lots and lots of friends. We know that. So as I was writing a speech, I thought more and more about you being an extrovert. Because this is not a trait you got from me. I'm an introvert, as most people know. Your mother is most likely the person who gave you this trait because the two of you like to talk and be around people all the time. In fact, I am always amazed, being a person who's an introvert, how many friends you have and how easily you make friends. People love to be around you. Imagine that. Your destiny will definitely be defined by how you love life and everyone around you. I am so amazed how easy it is for you to be around others and attract others to you. This also extends to animals. You love animals. From your volunteer work at the animal shelter to how much you love your own dog, Nutmeg, which you just talked about in your speech, shows again your destiny is being around others, whether they're people or animals. As you have grown and become a teenager, involvement in a wide variety of activities, from dance.
Be careful with this because it's very finicky.
To baking.
We'll disconnect.
One thing has always been clear. You have a strong desire to be your own person and define your own destiny. A trait that both your mother and I love about you. You are strong-willed, outgoing, hardly ever shy about anything, and very, very loving to your friends and family. Your entire family, from our matriarchs and patriarchs, Grandma Eva, to your Uncle Tom, to your Grandma Barb and Grandpa, to your Grandpa Bill and Pama, all the way down to the newest member of our family, who's not very old, little Henry, and everybody in between. We are so proud of what you have become in the future in front of you. Keep defining your destiny and keep shining as we all know you will. I love you, sweetie.
Mazel tov, Emma. I'll show them what I've been showing you throughout because you've been doing so well. I want to say to you that though we haven't known each other very long, you have made a real impression on me and on our community as well. But on me, because what I've seen in you is a real perseverance. Getting up in front of our studio here and our congregation all over today is not the easiest thing for you personally. And yet, you have risen to the occasion. You have persevered, even with a portion that warns you if you do it a little bit wrong, like Moses and Aaron did, you might be punished. The difference between Moses and Aaron and what they did, and between your instructions you got from your tutor and from me, that if you make a little mistake, it's okay, is that Moses and Aaron were agitated. And they were nervous, but they were mad. And so instead of doing the task in front of them as it was given, they hit that rock. Moses hit the rock as a symbol that he was angry. that he had been put in that position. With all of the pressure you have faced, I have never seen anger. I have seen that you're worried about it, but never that you weren't going to give it your all. It is really clear that you rise up beyond fear, beyond trepidation, and you give your best. What you have done today is a beginning for what you will do in your lifetime, in the way that you care for others, in the way that you teach from the depth of the Torah to how to live a life that makes our world a better place. One day soon, I hope that you and I will be marching together so that we will eradicate the racism in our world. And as you grow, I pray that that day will be here in our day, that you will know that we have erased those pains of oppression. I'm so proud of you, as is our community. And so I have for you several gifts from our community. First, I offer you from our board of directors this certificate in celebration of this day and in celebration of what you have become. And then from our movement, the Reform Movement, a gift certificate toward a trip to Israel with your peers during your high school years. I hope you will redeem it and your picture will be on here for the next generations of B'nai Mitzvah. I have this book from our religious school on the doorpost of your house, and in it you will find prayers and blessings for life's occasions within a Jewish home. From our brotherhood, we have this mezuzah to place upon your door. And from our sisterhood, a beautiful Kiddush cup that you will use in just a few moments for the first time, celebrating this sacred occasion. Finally, from your class, I have for you this gift, a special Torah rolled right to your Torah portion just inside, so that you can look back upon this day and know that your portion is what brought you to bring these lessons to us today. And now I invite Zemer Lexi to join with me in offering you the blessings of the priestly benediction.
Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha.
May God bless you and keep you.
Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka.
May God's light shine upon you and be gracious to you.
Adonai panav elecha ve'asem lecha shalom.
May you walk with God every day with the Torah near to your heart, that you will build a world of peace and that you yourself will know that peace from within. Amen. And now we turn in our prayer books to page 256 as we return the Torah to the ark. I invite your family forward to bring the Torah with you.
דרכי נועם וכל נתיבותיך שלום השיבנו אדוני אליך ונשובה חדש חדש ימינו כקדם.
as we celebrate in so many blessings on this Shabbat, so too, we know those who are facing illness in their lives, who are amidst pain at this time, and we offer prayers for them. These members of our own congregation and community, Sue Brim, Betty Cross, Sharon Davis, Harav Yisrael Gadal Ben Batya, Dave Griffith, Anita Lederer, Jim Lowry, Wendy Newby, Candy Paul, Rudy Pariser, Jackie Schlesinger, Craig Swinger, Laura Stein, Bruce Wayne, Alan Weinberg, and Abel Zaltberg. I invite you to write names of others you are thinking of now who need healing into our chat. In addition to those names, we add also our prayers for those who are facing the ravages of the COVID-19 virus, and prayers for those who are weighed down by oppression in our country. We ask God's blessing upon them all. Baruch atah Adonai, Rofeh HaCholim. Blessed are you, O God, the source of healing. Amen. And now we turn to the Aleinu on page 282 at the bottom of the page through 287.
עלינו לשבח לדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגון עלינו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
Page 289. In nature's ebb and flow, God's eternal law abides. When tears dim our vision or grief clouds our understanding, we often lose sight of God's eternal plan. Yet we know that growth and decay, life and death all reveal a divine purpose. God, who is our support in the struggles of life, is also our hope in death. We have set God before us and shall not despair. In God's hands are the souls of all the living and the spirits of all flesh. Under God's protection we abide, and by God's love are we comforted. O life of our life, soul of our soul, cause your light to shine into our hearts and fill our spirits with abiding trust in you. At this time, we call to mind those who have come to their final resting place in recent days: Sigbert Siggy Lowy, John Yellen, and Robert Zucker, and those whose yahrzeit, whose anniversary of passing we mark on this Shabbat: Martin Ben-Gad, Ben D. Buckman, Reba Cutler, Betty Darrer, Morty David, Dorothy A. Fleischman, James P. Foley, Naomi Geffen, Max Jackson, Michael Lee Kilman, Arthur Lehrman, Madeline McHugh, Lawrence Mittag, Lila V. Myers, Helene Posner, Virginia M. Rosefield, Edward Rosel, Esther Marcus Rubenstein, John Schreiber, Louis Seltzman, Ruth Posner Seltzman, Lena Shapiro, J. Arthur Stein, Joseph Welsh Strauss, Leopold Waldenberg, Rebecca Weinstein, Harry Weinstein, Philip F. Zucker, and Abraham Zucker. We add to those names Howard Posner and Vera Gramlich on the occasion of Emma Posner becoming bat mitzvah. Zikronam livracha, may their memories be for blessing. As we turn now to page 294 and join in the words of the Kaddish in their memory. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, v'alma divrach yirutei v'almich malchutei, v'chayachon u'vyomechon u'chayei dekol beit Yisrael, v'agala u'vizman kari v'imru amen. Yehi shmei rabbah mevorach leolam omei amaya, yitbarak v'yishtabak v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, V'yitadar, v'yitalev, v'yitalal, shemei dekudusha b'richu. Le'ala minko birchata v'shirata, tush v'chata v'nechemata, da'amiran v'alma v'imru, amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'mruma, hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us, to all Israel and all the world. And let us say together, amen. As we prepare for our closing song, Od Yavo, on page 353, I invite the Jewish jelly donuts to make sure they have their challah and their juice nearby so that they can join with Emma and her family in the blessings of Kiddush and Motzi at the end of our service.
Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam. Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam.
Adonai, as you have blessed us coming into this service, bless us now as we prepare to go forth in celebration of this Shabbat. I invite the Jewish jelly donuts to raise that cup of wine, the Kiddush sanctifying this day. And when I say three, make sure you are unmuted and lead together with Emma in this special blessing of Kiddush. 1 and 2 and 3.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam.
Amen. L'chaim. Now we uncover this beautiful challah, and I want to hear you singing jelly donuts along with Emma and her family. Are you ready? Okay, 1 and 2, and you're on. 3. Are they singing? All right, we're going to try again.
Hamotzi lechem min haaretz. We give thanks to God for bread. Our voices rise in song together as our joyful prayer is said. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
B'teavon, Shabbat Shalom, and Mazel Tov. Everybody is certainly invited to unmute yourselves and to share Shabbat Shalom with everyone and to share a special Mazel Tov to our Bat Mitzvah.
Mazel tov.
Mazel tov.
Congratulations, Mazel Tov.
Congratulations.
Mazel Tov.
Beautiful family.
Mazel tov.
Love it.
So much.
I still think everybody.
Thank you.
Mazel tov.
Mazel Tov.